welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host Aurora, and I'm very excited to be sharing my first interview with John Esteen. John Esteen was sentenced to 150 years of jail time, and he shares his story. He shares how in a tremendously hopeless situation he was able to fight for himself. He was able to see the light and to focus on the vision he has, namely to be reunited with his family and to live life in freedom. I find it very important to say that the Borealis Experience podcast is not only about inspiring talks and meditations, it is also inviting people from all walks of life to talk with me and to share their story, to inspire other people, to help them grow, to help them make the changes they want to see in their life, and to relate, to make you guys and girls out there feel less alone. So feel inspired now, lean back and enjoy this wonderful conversation I had with John Esteen this morning. Take good care of yourself. Bye.
Okay, I'm John Esteen. I'm from Louisiana. I served with 20 years on a 150-year sentence on a nonviolent drug offense. I was on NBC Dateline covering my story. It was an amazing story, and I like to share with others and hope to help somebody else in their life. Maybe encourage them, inspire them to do something positive in life. Let them know that when you never give up, you can achieve your purpose in life. Also, I'm president and founder of EandE Second Win, nonprofit organization. And I'm very proud of it. And the purpose of that is to help those coming home, men and women, to take the burden from them of the normal things that we have to accomplish when we come out that normal people or citizens would do, like getting their license, transportation, mental health services, education, and things of the like. Mm-hmm. And that's what I hope to, in doing that, I hope to lower the recidivism rate, because people that come home from prison within 2 to 5 years span, they find themselves back in prison. And we want to curtail that. Mm-hmm. So that's the purpose of non-privatization. Yes, ma'am.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, John. Would you say that when you come out of prison, that there's a lot of talk about PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, that people, all of them, suffer from the stress that happens in the prison, and to get back into life, to get back to their families sounds very beautiful and romantic and is awesome, but it's also very scary and can bring up a lot of, I don't know, is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it depression? How was it for you when you got out? It was a huge fight, legal fight to get you out on time, for you to not be serving over 100 years. But the day you found out that you get out again, how was it for you? Were you scared, nervous, or just excited?
I had mixed. It was, I guess, both. Mm-hmm. Excited and had a little fear.
Yeah.
Excited to be home with my family after so many years, hearing them having holidays at the house I can't be a part of. I always longed to have that and dreamt about being participate in that. And now I'm having this opportunity when I was coming home. So I was excited about that.
Yeah.
But the fear thing is it's dealing with the post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Then you experience a lot of things in prison. Also, you're in a controlled environment for so many years. So you find yourself dependent on the system to a certain extent of your life. They control you when you wake up, you go to bed, eat, and the like, things of the like. Every moment of your life is pretty much controlled. And you have a sense of freedom in Angola because it's like a city of its own, but at the same time, you'll find out that you are in a controlled environment when you do. They'll lock you up, put you in a dungeon, and things like that. And reality really sets in. So you're really not free, even though it might feel as though the environment might feel like you're free, but actuality you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear when you're coming home, the things that you were accustomed to doing in prison,
Mm-hmm.
these habits that you had developed, you find yourself still doing these things when you're home.
Yeah, yeah.
Like certain you use. Like I go to the hospital, if I go to an appointment, instead of me saying appointment, I would say call out. So I had to get over that. It took me a while to get over the saying I have a call out, and people looking at me, call out? What's a
Yeah,
call out? I said,
yeah,
oh, excuse me. I mean appointment.
yeah.
You see, I mean things, small things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that it's been ingrained, you've been institutionalized, and
Yeah,
not knowing it. See, that's the psychological thing about it. You find yourself doing things, not really noticing that
yeah.
you're doing it until somebody pointed out to you. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And while you were serving, you say serving, um,
Yes, sir.
were you a spiritual person before already and it helped you through, or did you have a moment in jail where you started praying or started having like mental practices to not go crazy, to stay sane? Did you
Yeah.
grow up in a religious, in a spiritual family, or did you learn over time to, because you come across as a very, very grounded, like sweet soul person.
Well, you don't surprise me by saying that. 'Cause a lot of people, even in prison, security guards and inmates alike, will always tell me you don't belong here, man. You different. You see, they see the light in you, man. I don't know what you're doing here. So I hear that a lot. And I did grow up in a beautiful household, a Catholic household. Grew up Roman Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Catholic schools. I went all the way up to my 10th grade year. My junior, senior went to public school by choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up going to Nicholls State University to play football. By switching schools, I kind of like lost educational platform. Pretty much, as saying, I mean by that is that I didn't have the college preparatory courses that get a full scholarship to college.
Mm.
So that led me to make another bad decision in my life, which I call a bad decision, is to join the National Guard to offset the cost to go to college. I got a partial scholarship for football, and I needed something else to pay for the rest. So I say, well, I'm going to go to National Guard. It sounds good, and they
Mm-hmm.
pay the rest, which it worked. It worked for the most part. But I
Yeah.
didn't know that I'd be deployed to go to war while in college. So that kind of backfired on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Said that derailed my dream to playing in the football league once in one day, So I still think about it today. If I wouldn't have went to the war, would I made it to the NFL? So I still go through my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So feelings of
Yeah.
regret and yeah, maybe
Yes.
anger towards
Of
yourself.
course.
And where were you sent to war?
Say that again. Ask that again, ma'am.
Where were you sent to war, sir?
Oh, I was sent to Saudi Arabia, Dhahran
Okay.
in 1991. I got there with just turned 91. Yeah.
Wow.
So
And
it was the war. The war was pretty quick at the same
mm-hmm.
time. And when we were being bombed and we had to sit in these annex courts with no windows, can't see what's going on. So you don't know if the bomb is going to hit you or not. But all you hear is sirens going off, and you had to put your chemical suit on because they wasn't sure if they had chemicals in the warheads that was being blowing up, exploding. They'll send it towards our way.
Mm.
And that alone, I got tired. I got to the point where I just like say, forget about it. They ain't doing all this time. I had no chemicals, and why would they have it now? And I stopped putting my chemical suit on. But that was short-lived because the guys that was in the annex court with me, they kind of came together and talked to me, said, man, put your chemical suit on, man. We think we should put that on. Persuaded me to put my chemical suit back on. And but at that point, I felt like that was a turning point in my mental factors at that moment, because I didn't care no more. It just didn't. I always was thinking my family. If something happened to me here, how's my future wife doing? My son, my mom and dad, people that love me, always going through my mind. I always contact them, not knowing if I'm going to go home again. Yeah. So I got tired of that, So I just cut everything off at that moment, right there. I snapped.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And for how long have you been away from home then?
Well, at that time, I was like 7.5 months of
7.5 months
that I was gone. Yes, about 7.5 months I was over there.
And then you came back home.
I came back home. Had to be like June, July, maybe August of '91. And when I came home, I worked for my mother. My mother, lady who owns a racetrack, Jefferson Downs, and the fairgrounds. And we did like beautification there. We did mess with plants, we plant plants and shrubberies, and so that was really my first real job that I really had.
Yeah.
Other than then I became a teller in the race ground where I sold tickets, the racehorse tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got good at that. So I started doing that when I that was pretty cool. Nice. But that was I was kind of like, and see that would shortly after that I was led to my first time getting convicted, going to the feds. See, I had a lot of pressure on me because I really couldn't cope. I really would think when pressure come on me, I kind of like I get disturbed real bad. I feel like I can't cope with the average thing, and I couldn't stand nobody challenging me mentally. It's a lot of things I couldn't want anybody to tell me anything. That's how it was. And especially in my own mind, if I'm thinking I'm right about anything, somebody tell me otherwise, I really it boils my blood. See, so when I got to the point where I felt that thing was coming, like financially speaking, I had the number to a friend of mine that was in a drug gang. And he said, whenever you need me, just call me, come holler at me. But he said that because initially I refused him, even though he showed me all kinds of money. But I was working at the time for my mom, my girlfriend, my sisters. It was like a little family thing, So, but eventually I got into it. I got to the point where that started my crime spree, if you want to call it that. But I really believe that it all stems coming from war, because I was doing a lot of stuff in Saudi Arabia that I along with me when I came back to the stateside. Like we was go to, they got a place called Bahrain. I'm not, if you're familiar with Bahrain. Bahrain sell alcohol. You have NCO clubs. People go party and you can drink alcohol in this part of the country.
Yeah.
We drive there. Yeah. So I was in Saudi. I was in where it's a dry county. No alcohol. Alcohol is illegal.
Yeah.
So what we did is we got the bright idea, we're young, to start smuggling alcohol across the border and make extra money. Yeah. So that started a little thing with me right there. And other things, of the like, doing things that we were supposed to be doing. And when I came home, and that was easy for me getting to continue doing things I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And that was selling drugs. You see, because that drugs were introduced to me in Saudi Arabia. Stuff called hashish. Yeah, they were having up there. Get it from up there that was from India. We came and introduced that to my soldier comrades, and we were smoking that. We were drinking moonshine, what we call it, rice wine. I mean, it was doing everything in wartime. I mean, I was introduced to a lot of stuff that I never was introduced to in my life.
Yeah. And
you understand? So
it was also like you had a feeling of being a provider and helping people cope with the stress, right? Because alcohol helps you to process stress. And of course, it's not the solution, but it's a short-term relief. And that's what you were able to provide to those guys.
Right.
And all along you forget, oh shit, this is highly illegal. Actually, I shouldn't be doing that. You only
right. You know, exactly. You know, we know we was doing wrong, but we didn't see. That's another thing. People know they do wrong, but they don't know what the consequences are behind the wrong things that you do.
Yeah.
You see, we have once you know the consequences, I think you'll make a more of a rational decision to do it or not. You see,
exactly.
Just like when I went to prison the first time, you know, I have got 3.5 years and I come home. And my first time, that was a lot. I was expecting probation. So that blew my mind right there. You see? And when I did my time in Pensacola, Florida. So I come home from that, it kind of straightened me out. I didn't want to go back to jail, but I wasn't changed. I wasn't a changed person. It's just I got older and wiser, but I was still that same person that made those bad decisions prior to going to jail. You know, I just want you to understand where I'm at. And so it was for somebody to come along us that's doing something illegal to make some extra money for me to go back into that trap. And that's what happened on the second charge.
Yeah.
Okay. And as I got into it, I'm not thinking about the consequences. I know jail is a consequence, but not that much time, not that much jail time. 150 years. I never phantomed that in my wildest dreams.
No,
I
didn't
150 years for not even hurting anybody.
Yeah.
So what they did is, by me being a second offender, they couldn't give me life, so they gave me 4 counts, and they ran them consecutive, each separately from one another. So give me the most time possible. So they set example with me. And another thing I was angry about is that you send me all this time, not taking consideration that I fought for my country, the things I did good, and like what I was doing, what I was into prior to all this, like playing football, trying to provide for my family, had a little son. None of these things were taken into consideration in my sentencing. If they did, would you have gave me 150 years flat? You run my time consecutive, or you ran it together? Give me a break that, you know, that you could done that because it still fits the sentencing guideline. But you threw the book at me, you know, and that kind of still angers me too, to think about my country will allow something like this to happen.
Yeah. And just to give us a quick idea, so you ended up having to serve 20 years out of the 100.
20 years, 7 months. Yeah, 20 years, 7 months, man. And that's because I fought. That's because I fought.
Yeah.
If I would just lay it down, the laws changed. I had parole eligibility, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You got people, you know, I could still be in prison right now, waiting on another term for parole eligibility, going to board. I have friends in that has parole eligibility because they're juveniles and got denied and had to wait another 2 years. And then you got to wait another 5 years if you got denied again. It's an ongoing thing. So you're not promised to get out.
And how was it?
I took it on my own.
Sorry. No, I didn't want to.
So that's why I took it on.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. No, that's why I took it upon myself to fight. Even though I had parole, I'm still fighting to get resentenced.
Yeah.
Because my sentence was illegal. And the court and the system was saying that I had to go to parole board. And I was telling the system that how do I have to go on the parole board to ask for a favor when my sentence is illegal and it should be due me? I should earn that. Instead of asking for a favor. So parole board, you just ask for a favor. So I'm asking them to resentence me to give me my rightful sentence. That's all I was asking. They were refusing that. And I fought and I fought and I fought until my case became the Esteen case. Now it's a big old case, landmark case now. And many people went home on my case before I even went home. So I was still fighting when people going home on using my case. Yes.
But
Yes, ma'am.
that's okay. That's okay. To help others is
that's right. I love it. I was loving it. I just had to fight a little longer.
Yes. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So the day you found out that you got 150 years to serve, when were you mentally okay to start a fight? Did you fight from the first day, like you didn't accept it from the first day? Or did you first go through a couple years, a couple months where you were like, oh my God, like I'm done. I'm lost. I got nowhere to go. How long did it take you to start fighting?
Took me a few years, man. Took me a few years to start fighting. When I first got to Angola, like I told you earlier, it's like a city of its own. Had a lot of distractions, got sports, have everything you think of in the world, in society. You pretty much have it in prison. And so that was my distractions. I love sports, so that was my way of, since I couldn't have drugs, alcohol, and all that. So sports provided that comfort for me.
Yes.
While I was going through this.
Good.
And educate myself too. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn by guys, so I got into Bible college. And I got my bachelor's degree in Christian ministry. I went to horticulture school in there after Bible college, and I got a certified horticulture certificate. So I did do positive things. I became vice president of the Vets Club. I did things like that. I was always in positive things. I boxed. I was in a boxing team, football team, basketball team. You name it, I done it.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where, I still have 150 years. And when it dawned on me is when I got in a color guard. By me being a military in the Veterans Club, they asked me to be in a color guard. And what we do a little show at Rodeo Town, have rodeo twice a year. And we'd come and do the color guard and do the flag thing, do a little show for the people. And also we bury our own, the veterans. We bury them called Point Lookout. It's a burial ground on Angola premises. And we up to Point Lookout 3 now. The ground, it's people dying in there. It's a lot. It's reality. It's real. So I don't know this guy. It's an older white guy that went to bury, and his family never couldn't afford to get him. I'm assuming, but his sister and her husband was there at the funeral. We got a big old hole in the ground. We around it. We do our little ceremony, and I'm watching this coffin go into the big black dog hole, and I felt the guy's pain, and I started crying. Tears started coming out my face, and in my heart and in my mind, I said, I don't want to die here. It woke me up. That sparked me to fight for my life.
Wow.
That's when I started cutting things, that will hold me up from getting my freedom. I started cutting these dead branches off. And started focusing on the law, talking to inmate counsels, trying to get information. And it just clicked one day. It's like God gave me the answer on my case, and I tried to get other inmate counsel to understand. None of them could understand what I was talking about. I just knew I had it, and I had one inmate that believed in me because I was so adamant and so persuasive and confident that this was going to work for me. And he worked out. He worked my writs out for me year after year after year. We stuck with the same claim, and eventually, I got the reward.
Wow.
Took a while.
Yeah, but from that one instance where you woke up, your whole being focused just on, I want to be free, and I envision what I want to see in my future, and I'm not going to let myself distracted anymore.
No. I ain't mess with no women. Like guys want me to meet their sisters or whatever. I said, no, I can't offer them nothing.
Yeah.
I said, they out there, I'm in here. What can I do for them?
Yeah.
I said, I need to educate myself. I need to find my way out of here where everything is. Mm-hmm. Then I can concentrate on that.
Yes.
You see? So that was my focus.
Yeah.
And like everybody tell you. And I did meet my future wife, my last 2 years in incarceration. I did meet her. And it was like, reason being is because I finished. All I had to do with my case is all I do is wait, because I was my second time around to the Louisiana Supreme Court, because I was denied there first time there. And this is to me, it was my last hope. And I've been there, and I stayed there like 17 months waiting on the decision.
Oh God.
And in that time, a friend of mine that used to run a yard where I wasn't really close with him, but we got to develop a friendship out there because we worked out together and got to know him real well. And he stopped me one day and he said, man, I need to talk to you about something. I said, what's up? My wife is bringing a friend. I know you don't go visit with nobody's family. I already know this. So they already know I don't do that. He said, but I was sitting on my bed and I was wondering who can visit with my wife's best friend that come visit, because I want to spend time with my wife. And he said, as I was laying on my bed, something told me, let Boosie, they call me my nickname. I grew up, that's my nickname. Let Boosie talk to her. And when he presented that to me like that, I looked at him, I smiled, I said, okay, I'll go visit, with you, and I'll talk to your wife friend while you spend time with your wife. I'll do that for you, man. Mm-hmm. So I went. So I was really working out, really finished everything anyway. So it's not a date. So I don't care if she's as big as a whale or ugly as I don't know what. It didn't matter. So I just went there, with no expectations and just free. Because I'm just doing a favor. That's all I was doing, So, but what got me when I met her, she's a pretty attractive young lady, to me. But I was just talking to her, I got to meet her personally and get to know the guy's wife, get to meet her too, and we gelled. And the visit was a long visit that day, that morning, all the way to 4:00 that evening. So we visit the whole time. You can buy food. It's like a regular visiting, and like anywhere, like a day in the park, So that's how we treated it. And but what got me was at the end of the visit, she walked towards me while I was sitting down. I remember like she came walk and she asked me a question. She said, "Do you want me to come back?" And I said, "Wow." I said, I didn't know what to say, but I said, "You want to come back?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, yeah, you come. I want you to come back." Oh. So from that day forward, she wasn't on my visit list. I was a joint visit with them on the guys' visit. I just joined in with their visits. We got the paperwork done for that. And about a month or two later, we wound up getting her on my visiting list, and she came like twice a month. She drove like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, twice a month to come see me. Wow. So not knowing, she know I have 150 years.
Yeah.
And not knowing if I'm gonna come home or not, I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. I'm still in court. I'm still waiting on decision. Been a long time in court. So it's like, last time I was in court, this is about the same time, and I got denied. So I didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
But my key was, I tapped into something spiritual. Mm-hmm. I tapped into something very, very, that may benefit a lot of people by hearing this right now. I'm gonna tell you, is I decided to just get up 2 o'clock every morning on my bed while everybody's sleeping, kneel by my bed, put my hands up like that, and just praise God for who he is, not asking him for nothing. Just thanking him in advance for what blessings he bestowed upon me. I did that every night for about the last 2 years of my time in Angola. And as a result of all that, I've seen many doors opening. I've seen first a newspaper reporter came in there and interviewed me. He worked for the Advocate newspaper here in New Orleans. He interviewed me, and he took pictures of me in a law library. He was amazed about my story. Then after him, NBC Dateline came, did a documentary on Angola, not me, on Angola. And they discovered my story when they came to Angola. So they called me to the warden's office and telling me NBC Dateline here want to interview you. Wow, that blew me away. Big time for me.
Yes.
And I wound up getting resentenced. Long story short, wound up going to get resentenced. And I went back to my judicial. I won my case in the Louisiana Supreme Court after 17 years. I won my case. I go to my district court to get resentenced. The judge is a new judge, and she refused to look at my mitigating factors the last 20 years in prison. She refused even to look at me, actually. All she said is that we overreached our boundaries, that we're here for sentencing, not here for pardon parole board. Like that, she was real hard-nosed and blunt. And she sentenced me to the max possible. So my 150 years turned to 100 years. So all she knocked off was 50 years off my sentence and sent me back to Angola. Okay. So now I'm back at Angola. All I have now is hope is parole, which I really want to depend upon. So that's my I guess it was my ace in the hole. But at the same time, I had a lot of publicity at this moment too. So either they can go for me or it's gonna go against me. And I'm praying that it go for me.
Yes.
At the same time, keep in mind that I'm still praising God every morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, just for who he is. And that will kept me straight, kept me strong, kept me focused.
Yeah.
Because I was really convinced that if God with me, who can be against me? I kept that in my heart.
Yes.
And so now NBC Dateline got involved. They come in my dorm while I sleep. They film me in there. They bring me to my chapel I work at. They film where I worked at in prison. I'm like a free man already in prison. I'm walking around with these people, with the wardens and everything.
Yeah.
This is, and it come to my parole hearing. I got it. Like my parole was speeded up some kind of way. Don't know how, but I was on the board. Came up quick. So everybody wanted me out of there.
Yeah.
The system wanted me out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing it at the time, though. I'm still nervous.
Yeah, no, I can understand.
I'm still nervous. I'm still nervous. NBC Dateline said they're going to come back and they're going to walk me to the pardon parole board. They came to my dorm early that morning. Before I go on pardon parole board, they film me. They want to hear my thoughts. They want to know what I'm thinking. They want to know everything about me prior to me going to that pardon parole board hearing.
Wow.
My family up there already waiting. And we got other guys up there waiting for their parole hearing. So I was the second person to go in there. Take note of this now. The first person was denied. Oh my God. So you know how that was. I had a battle in my mind. God, I understand, but I knew you with me, First guy was denied off the top. So he come out, family crying, he crying. I said, man. Woo. So here I go. They call me up. Go in there. I hold the door for my family, come all in and sit down, and make a long story short, My son spoke for me. My mama spoke for me. They asked me a few questions. And the lawyer for the state of Louisiana was the first one to question me on the board. And he told me, he let me know that he is a lawyer and he want to ask me a few questions. So he asked me a few questions, and after I answered him, he said, it must be true what they say about you. He said, you fought us despite how we may have felt about you. You kept on fighting. He said, therefore, I cannot deny you. And the other two guys spoke. They asked me a few questions, and he said, we like the first guy. We can't deny you. So when it came back to the original guy that talked to me first, the lawyer, when he said, well, we grant you the parole. Man, my head hit the table, crying like a baby.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the best feeling in my life.
Oh.
That I had so much weight on my shoulders now has been lifted.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Yes.
John, so we're coming to an end with our first meeting here. I would love to have you back. And you also mentioned that you want to bring on a friend, right?
Yes. He's go ahead.
No, I don't know, because Zoom is going to kick us out here very soon.
All right.
Just that you know, it's Zoom, it's not me.
All right.
I'm gone.
Okay. All right.
Would you like to mention your podcast right at the end here, and then we set up a new date for our new conversation, maybe next week or in a couple of days?
Okay.
You want to share
whenever you're ready.
The title of your podcast that you want to kickstart?
The title of my podcast I want to kickstart is Out of Bondage and Into Success.
Yeah. And
yes, ma'am.
This episode here will be on the Borealis Experience podcast. And yeah, we will chat very soon to talk about your friend, to bring him on and to talk more about your situation right now and your family, right?
Yes.
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time and for
Welcome.
being,
no problem.
for being here.
No problem.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our conversation here on the Borealis Experience podcast. Make sure to check out John Esteen on Facebook and his non-profit organization that I will be posting in the show notes here. All right, take good care of yourself. Until next time, Aurora.